Noting a quorum and a successful return of the warrant, I call this special town meeting to order. I'm Jimmy Recor, I'm your moderator. It's good. Town Council, to my left and your right, we have Town Clerk. Meeting is to conduct the yearly business of a town or body. From the Budget and Finance Committee to material needs, Conway, whether it be fire, EMS, police department, or administrative needs, corrections and additions to town policies or bylaws, or just keeping the town compliant with the ever-changing world we live in. How town meeting works. You have received the town warrant and the warrant light. Each warrant article is the town's suggestion on how we deal with each topic covered by a warrant article. Each article will be read in order of listing on the warrant. After each is read, the select board will enter a motion for consideration to the floor, after which a second to the motion will be asked for. If a further explanation of the motion is needed, the principal most able to explain will try to do just that. The floor will then open for discussion on the motion. Speakers must be residents or gain permission to speak. To speak, you must raise your hand and be recognized by the moderator before moving to or being handed a microphone. We do have a microphone and a runner today who will approach you. State your name and please keep your comments to within a 2-minute period. During discussion, some behavior is unacceptable and may cause you to forfeit your right to speak. Vulgarity and personal attacks will not be tolerated. Raising your voice and taking over the 2-minute mark may also cause the same end result. The moderator would like to limit each citizen to speaking only once per article. During discussion of each article, please keep in mind that if someone else has a different opinion than you, it doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means their life experiences have led them to a different conclusion. During discussion, we may decide to vote on an article as is, or amend it, or change it. We could also decide to table it, put it aside to another time. Each article is open to many parliamentary motions, and these are outlined in the handbook Town Meeting Time, published by the Massachusetts Moderators Association in 1962 and recently redone for the 4th time, and that was adopted by town meeting vote in 2023. So that's how we're going to run. Sure. Okay, so let's start with Article 1.
Real quick, I'm sorry. When you're looking at the votes between different boards and committees, you'll see 3 numbers in some cases. The first number will be yay, second number nay, and third number just means absent committee members.
Voting clickers.
Are we doing a test run?
You want to do a test? Okay. Green is yes, red is no, yellow is abstain. So, let's have a test. Let's vote. Sure. Okay. We look like everything's coming through great. Close it out. Okay. Article 1.
I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer to the general fund $537,857 for the purchase of a new ambulance as presented in the warrant. Oh, do I need to read the? Okay. 451,641 will come from the ambulance stabilization fund, $40,000 from the ambulance reserve for receipts fund, $46,216 from free cash.
Do you have a motion? That's your motion?
That's my motion, yes.
What do I need for a motion? Thank you. We have motion and second. Let's open it up for discussion.
Daryl Chase, 904 Bardsley Ferry. Daryl Chase, 904 Bardsley Ferry Road. Could you let us know how much is in free cash at this time?
Yes, that is,
The free cash that was certified for this year is $894,273.
Any other discussion? Okay. Let's vote. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. The motion passes 64, 5 against, 1 abstention. Article 2.
I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer $125,000 from free cash to the general fund to cover the increased cost of health insurance for town employees in FY26.
Second, thank you. Let's open it to discussion.
Hello, Carl Anderson from 291 Riley Road. I was just wondering what percentage increase that number represents?
Do we,
Isn't it about 10%?
do we know? I think
It's a $900,000 line. 20%, okay.
yeah. so-
Yeah, okay, so what happened is that for October 1st, the increase was 20%, and it had also been 20% for July 1st. So this amount actually represents about a tenth of the budget. It's about 900,000, just shy of $1 million, I think, for employees' costs. So I think, although it may be less for, that may be the total employee benefit line, sorry.
Any other discussion? Okay, let's vote on Article 2. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Article 2 passes 60 yes, 7 no. Article 3.
I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer $38,025 from free cash to the general fund to pay for necessary upgrades to the town's electronic infrastructure.
I have a second. Discussion?
Oh.
Discussion? One last time?
Ken Wilmette, 72 Parsons Hill Drive. What exactly is this for electronic upgrades?
This is mostly for hardware. When The town voted this summer to move to managed IT services. The quote that we were given, it turns out when they came in and started to do some of the necessary upgrades, our hardware was not actually sufficient to support the changes that need to be made.
Any other discussion? Let's vote on Article 3. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Article 3 passes, 60 yes, 8 no, 3 abstentions. Article 4.
I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer $3,500 from free cash to the general fund to pay for the purchase of public streetlights.
We have motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote. Article 4. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Motion passes, 59 yes, 10 no, 1 abstention. Article 5.
I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer $23,636 from free cash to the general fund to pay back stipend payments to a town employee.
I have a second. Discussion?
Michelle Harris, 99 Shelburne Falls Road. Who is this for? What is it for?
Can you take that one, Veronique?
Yeah, so what happened is, when I prepare the budget every year, I add in what was expended in the prior year. And I happened to notice this past year that the amount that was, put in for a stipend for this person was not the amount that was paid out, and there was a big discrepancy. So then I went back and got the information about how many years has this gone on. The problem was that there was an increase that happened in the stipend, but it never got translated properly through the process. So instead of being paid the increased stipend, this person was just getting a COLA increase on the lower amount from earlier on. So this had gone on for 10 years. So what we're trying to do is just do the right thing and make the payments that were supposed to have been made all this time.
Any other discussion? Okay, let's vote on Article 5. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Article 5 passes, 70 yes, 3 no, 2 abstentions. Article 6.
I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer the balance of funds previously appropriated for transfer station repaving to pay for new Conway Mall expenses and right to farm signs as presented in the warrant.
Second.
I have a second. Discussion, Article 6. Oh.
So I'm Susan Schroeder, and I live on Magazine Drive. And Carl's over there because he is part of this project. In 2017, the town voted to be a right to farm town. And we started working on creating the signs to go with that so that there would be an appropriate visibility of the fact that one of the primary characters of Conway is farming. But our commission, agricultural commission, sort of fell apart and the project ended. We've revised it. I've been working with Veronique, and our artist is Amy Anderson, and we have some beautiful signs, and we'd like to get them up on the roads. They'll be on 6 of the entrance roads coming into town. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, let's vote. Article 6. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Article 6 passes, 62 yes, 11 no, 2 abstentions. Article 7.
I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer $7,000 from free cash to the general fund to cover the additional cost of hiring an accounting firm for February through June of FY26.
Second.
I have a second. Discussion?
Pamela Gilmore, 194 River Street. Is $7,000 the accounting fee for 4 months of services?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
No, I'm sorry, that's how much additional we will need in the budget line. There was funding
yeah.
there. This is just what we need to add on top of that. I want to say it's about $3,500 a month. Or I'm sorry, that's what it will be, I believe, in the next year. But in any case, yes, it's just an addition to the line that we already have to cover the cost.
Any other discussion? Let's vote on Article 7. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Article 7 passes, 63 yes, 10 no, 2 abstentions. Article 8.
I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer $7,211 from free cash to the general fund to partially cover the cost of replacing a fence along Whately Road at the ball field.
Second.
We have a second. Discussion. Okay, let's vote on Article 8. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Article 8 passes, 57 yes, 10 no, 2 abstentions. Article 9.
I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer the remainder of the following funds: $50,565 from the Highway Facility Fund, $46,236 from the Highway Storage Building Fund, and $8,000 from the purchase of the boom lift to the general fund to pay for the replacement of the public safety building garage roof and other costs associated with the public safety building.
I have a second. Discussion. Okay, let's vote on Article 9. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Article 9 passes, 70 yes, 5 noes, 2 abstentions. Article 10.
I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer $24,321 from free cash to the general fund to pay for an American with Disabilities Act self-evaluation of town properties.
Second.
Second. Discussion.
Jane Roy Brown, 6 Parsons Road. I just want to know what self-evaluation means in this context, please.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, it means that the town is looking at itself and all of its different facilities and things, including the website, to come up with a plan for how to make sure that all the town properties are accessible. This was done back, I want to say, in 2018, and it is a requirement for us to be able to apply for other grants from the Municipal Office of Disability with the state. So we have to have this self-evaluation in place. It has to be updated for us to be able to apply. This is actually a precursor to applying for a Lula lift for Town Hall. So that's, not to mention the fact that it's something that we need to be doing.
Howdy, I'm Mary McClintock. I live right down the hill on 116. Will there be an opportunity for people in town in this self-evaluation process to have input, public input?
Yes.
And we'll be told that through the Conway Currents, or
Yes.
how will we know?
Yes, I can absolutely do that, yes.
Yeah, that would be great. I have opinions. I'd love to share them.
Any other discussion?
We have one over here, Jenny.
I get away from that speaker. Michelle Harris, 99 Shelburne Falls Road. So is this, if it's a self-evaluation, is this somebody's salary? And every town property that I can think of is handicap accessible. So does this include state forests or the new parks that are being built?
No, so this would be hiring a company to perform this evaluation with us. It will include the school, particularly because the school is the emergency shelter. And again, so it'll include town hall, town offices. The new public safety building shouldn't be a problem because it's being built right now, so it's to standards. Also, the parks and the ball fields and the website. It's basically to ensure that all of these things are completely accessible. And these things do change over time, the requirements, and also the capabilities to ensure accessibility, so.
Long-term goal is to not be in the town offices. So once the public safety building is completed, the fire department and police department can then move their offices over there. And then we can go into town hall. Town hall does not have a lift. So, you know, some of the offices will be upstairs, so there's going to need to be a lift in that building.
Hi, Elizabeth Stowe, Deerfield Road, South Deerfield Road. Am I right in assuming that this is not just physical disability when you say it's things like sight, hearing, an array of disabilities?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Let's vote on Article 10. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Article 10 passes. 69 yes, 8 no, 1 abstention. Article 11.
I move that the town vote to approve the payment out of the FY26 information technology budget, $203.72 for Comcast invoices from FY25.
Second.
I have a second. Discussion? Let's vote on Article 11. Five more seconds.
I know I didn't screw around.
Voting is closed. Article 11 passes. 68 yes, 8 no, 1 abstention. Article 12.
I move that the town vote to appropriate or reserve for later appropriation $69,000 from the Community Preservation Fund for use by the Conway Cemetery Association for removal of overgrown trees that are threatening ancient gravestones in the oldest part of historic Howland Cemetery.
I have a second. Discussion.
My name is John Cordes, 67 Upper Baptist Hill Road. I have family connections that go way back, and my great uncle is buried in the Howland Cemetery. But it's a very important location for multiple reasons. Obviously, the historic gravestones that are mentioned. My concern, though, as a climate activist, is that the white pines that are in that cemetery also have historic value. Many of you probably know that the tallest tree in New England is in Massachusetts in the Mohawk Trail State Forest, a white pine. And these trees were known as the King's Pines back in Revolutionary days. I could go on and bore you about all this forestry, but I've spoken with a tree scientist about this who has emphasized the carbon sequestration of older trees far surpasses trees that are younger. And so I'm wondering, as we appropriate this money, if we could have some discussion about, are there any other alternatives to actually cutting the trees down completely? I know that some of the gravestones are already moved by the larger girth trees, so that if we were to cut the tree down, that's not going to solve that problem because there's still going to be a stump there. So I would just hope that we could have a little bit more discussion maybe with the Cemetery Association as a town, and I'm going to try to post something in the Currents from this tree scientist that I'd spoken with just to get a little bit more discussion going.
Okay, thank you. In the back? We're coming.
Amanda Kirk, 1733 Roaring Brook Road. I'm curious where the 69,000 figure comes from, if that's an estimate from a specific tree removal service or if you got competing estimates. As a historic preservationist, I am concerned about the preservation of the graves, but that figure sounds excessive for removal of a few trees.
Do we have anyone here from the Cemetery Association?
Oh, thank you, Jim. Hello again, Michelle Harris, 99 Shelburne Falls Road, and neighbor to the Howland Cemetery. Where to begin? To answer your questions first, it is not threatening the graves. It has already destroyed multiple graves. Every year, or when there's a snowstorm or an ice storm, the branches from those trees continue to come down. Ken Wilmette is here, and he is in charge of the spring cleanup in that cemetery, and there is mass destruction over there of these graves. To answer your question, I received 3 quotes ranging from 50 to close to 100,000. This 69,000 that we asked for was the middle quote, and somebody local that we know, the highest quote came from Northern Tree Service, a huge company out of, I want to say Springfield. They came in at $90,000+. Just to add a note to this, because of the graves, because of the destruction, because of the soil, etc., this project is massive. I won't go into all the little details, but it requires bringing in protection for the grass, gravel to put the riggers on the crane. It involves a 300-ton crane because it has to park on the road and be able to reach over and get the top of these pines, which have to come down piece by piece because of, the graves are right up against these trees at this point. There is only six white pines, a dead red maple, and there is another one that I can't remember what it is. They're all over in the old section of the cemetery. Did I cover everything? Oh, the carbon footprint, or the carbon concerns. The cemetery fund does have a little bit of money, not a lot, and our plan is after this project is to go in and actually find somebody that can help us and plant smaller, friendlier, non-destructive trees and bushes over there. With the stumps, we have talked about putting, whiskey barrels with flowers on top of them so they're not quite as stumpy looking. We'll take them down as far as we can. Obviously, the stumps are not going to be pulled because there are graves right up against the base of these trees. I can't think of either or question. I think I've answered them all. If I haven't, please let me, oh, hello.
Yulia Stone, River's Edge Drive. Michelle, has the association consulted anyone to figure out what the effect would be from killing those trees in terms of soil, water drainage, and the effects down on the road that goes nearby, and things like frost heaves?
Yes. Yes and no. The soil over there is very poor. It's very sandy soil. We've never had a flooding problem or a drainage problem, and that is quite a knoll. We've never had problems with the soil or with the roads, except for that massive rain that we got that washed out the bottom of the upper road that is nowhere near that knoll, or the old section of the cemetery. I keep calling it the knoll.
Has the association consulted any specialist to figure out what the effect will be of removing those trees?
No, we have not, because we did not see that as an issue based on history. The only effect that it's going to have is saving the rest of those slate stones over there that we see.
All right, so that's your goal. Understandable. May I suggest consulting with somebody? Because we've seen examples when removal of one tree has an effect out on the building, on the water seepage to the buildings nearby. So the water seepage could change and maybe have effect potentially on the road that goes by.
Because there is a massive root system associated with these trees.
Correct, and those roots would be dead eventually, and they'll rot. And that would change the situation in the soil there.
We could hire a consultant. I'm imagine because the word consultant is associated with this person, it's going to cost a lot of money that we probably do not have. And we're trying to get this project done sooner than later because every year more things are destroyed over there, more graves are destroyed.
Perhaps there could be a way to find a specialist, a knowledgeable person to talk to.
Hello there. Any other questions? Behind you. Two, Adam.
Hi, Julia Washburn, Newhall Road. Couple of quick questions. I understand both sides of this. I understand the importance of the historic preservation, and I understand the importance of protecting heritage trees. My understanding from listening to you is this is about 7 trees, and are they heritage trees? Are they deemed? Has anyone? It sounds like they're very, very old and tall and maybe healthy. Are the trees not healthy? So have they been evaluated by an arborist to say, yes, these are hazardous trees?
We haven't had it evaluated. We deem them as hazardous because every year they're destroying graves.
Yeah, so my question then would be, has anyone explored any alternatives to cutting them down, such as limbing them or trimming them or so forth?
That would probably involve just about every limb in the tree, and then instead of having a 10-foot stump, we would have a 150-foot stump. No, I'm not being sarcastic.
No,
I'm being...
my point is that I'm just asking has everything possibly been done to see what could be done about saving the trees? And if so, then I would suggest that you go ahead and cut them. But I just want to know if there's more research to be done before we do that.
Could you, Ken Wilmette, please?
Ken Wilmette, Parsons Hill Drive. Along with Michelle, I've been on a committee for, I don't want to guess how many years. I have every year, fall and spring cleanup, I get the inmates from the jail. We do massive amount of brush removal, picking up those branches, in there with chainsaws, cutting the limbs up that fall. Those trees are dying rapidly. The big pines, you can walk right up to them, you can peel the 1-inch thick bark right off of them. The root systems are dying, the trees are dying. There's nothing we can do. They're not safe enough to climb. We've had arborists go in there, assess them. They said, we can't send people up these trees. It has to be done with a crane, taking it from the top to the bottom. So there is no saving those trees. There's also the maple trees that Michelle mentioned. Same thing. Every year, massive limbs come off of those the size of the trunks of most trees. They smash the stones. So every year we're in there with the inmates cutting them up. I know because I'm in there with them.
Any other discussion?
John Harrison, Baptist Hill Road. I just want to mention, as a nearby neighbor of the cemetery, that the more familiar you are with, and it's not just small limbs that come down, it is often very large portions of the trunk. And when you see what they do to the stones, they are not just knocked over, they are turned into little tiny smithereens. I mean, they're obliterated. And we've seen this over the years, big limbs coming down every year. So I think there's no solution to it other than to try to really mitigate with the trees.
Mary Irwin, Baptist Hill Road. The historical significance of Howland Cemetery is very important. This is the oldest part of Howland where some remarkable people are buried. We have lost a number of trees. Michelle, can you tell us approximately how many trees have been cut already, and has that impacted drainage or the terrain in any way?
I believe there's been a minimum of 4 trees taken already years ago. It has no impact on the soil.
I heard a suggestion to move the question and a second. So let's take a quick voice vote on that. All in favor of moving the question? Aye. Opposed? Okay, let's vote on Article 12. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Article 12 passes. 62 yes, 14 no, 3 abstentions. Article 13.
I move that the town vote to approve the grant match and administration account to include all expenses necessary for the application and administration of grants applied for by the town.
I have a second. Discussion.
Suzanne Artemieff, Upper Baptist Hill Road.
So I have a question. The wording on this is really kind of vague, and the example given in the light warrant states design and engineering costs. My understanding is that generally those would be included in a Phase 1 grant. Do you want me to?
The idea is that for certain grants, we may not be in the best position to apply for them because a little design or engineering work is necessary in order to actually prepare the grant application. So this would just give that account the ability to spend the money on, you know, say a consulting engineer to review the grant application, so that we could put that application forward.
So my only concern, or one concern about that, is that there's no limit on that.
Well,
That there's no what? Limit. Oh, no.
yeah, well, it could be, there's no limit because we're not, I mean, there's a limit, there's an amount that's in the grant, the grant administration account. So this just basically gives us more flexibility in spending the money that's already been appropriated for that account.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
The current
Any other-
account actually only has 13,500, just so you're aware.
Any other discussion? Let's vote on Article 13. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Article 13 passes, 66 yes, 6 no, 3 abstentions. Article 14.
I move that the town vote to amend its general bylaws as presented in the warrant.
I have a second. Discussion?
You want to save trees, here's your chance.
Elizabeth Stowe, 304 South Deerfield Road. Yeah, I really love trees, but I remember paper when you used to like read it. We were prepared today because we'd gotten the town warrant in the mail and we had read it thoroughly and argued over it and stuff. We just aren't these computer people. I can't read a long document on the internet, and I don't see why you shouldn't keep mailing them out. Thank you.
They'll be available.
Yeah, so we will still mail them, but they'll be available on request. So as opposed to spending $3,000 to mail to every single post office box and address in Conway, we'll only mail them to people who actually do want a physical copy. Or you can pick up a physical copy at Town Hall, but we'll definitely make physical copies still available by mail. We just won't by default mail them to everyone in town.
Darrell Chase, 904 Bardsville Ferry Road. Just to be clear, this is just the town report, or is it the warrant as well? Because I think she was talking about the warrant.
Yeah, it's just the town report, which is the huge
Right, but the
booklet.
but the printed warrant will still be mailed?
The warrant will, yeah, we'll continue to mail.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Oh,
Jane Roy Brown, 6 Parsons Road. How would a person opt in or out for the mailing of the report, please?
I think at this point, emailing or calling the town administrator, but we could certainly, I mean, I don't see why we couldn't have a, form on the website to make it really easy to, put in your information and request.
Lucinda Cathcart, 482 Newhall Road. I think if the presumption is we want to be accommodating to people that are going to not want to do the computer thing for all the right reasons, I think that the campaign to give them the option to receive it via mailing needs to be like in the current, it needs to be something that's not just online, because I think you're going to miss who you don't want to miss.
Yeah, thank you. No,
That's
we'll
all.
definitely do that.
any other discussion? Oh.
Hi, Drew Cronin, Whately Road. I'm just wondering, is it possible to email them out? Because for those of us who don't go on the website regularly or go to these places, wouldn't email be also an effective option?
Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't do that.
We could, but I would just have to say we don't have all your email addresses, so it'd still have to be a request. So the form that I could put on the website would be printed copy or emailed copy, and you'd have to give me your email address.
Yeah, I guess we could, I don't know, Donna, is that necessary to do a floor amendment to specify that it will still be available in other?
It says are mailed upon request, so
Okay.
if you want to be really specific, you can say mailed or emailed upon request.
Okay. So how do we do that, Jimmy? Make a motion to amend the floor amendment?
I don't know if it really requires amending it.
Well, Donna says we should, just to cover
Okay.
our basis. Okay. So do I make a motion to amend? Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to amend the article as it was written. So currently it says will be mailed upon request. We'll say mailed or emailed upon request.
We have a second on the amendment to Article 14. We have a second. Any discussion on that amendment? Okay, let's vote on amending Article 14. By voice. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Noted. The amendment passes. Now let's vote on Article 14 as amended. Five more seconds. Voting is closed. Article 14 passes, 75 yes, 4 no.
Now, do you close the meeting or do I?
I do,
Okay.
but yes. Okay, that was one quick meeting. Before I have a motion to adjourn, I'd just like to note that yesterday was a half day of school here. There were 6th graders who were in the after-school program who volunteered to set this room up with Emily Sweet. And they are Logan Phillips, Cade Anderson, Martin Kearns, Cash Waskevitz, Huck Karras, and Freddie Swinderski. And their teacher was thrilled that they volunteered to do it, so I thought I'd mention it to you today.
Thank you.
Now I would entertain a move to adjourn. And a second?
Second.
Let's vote.
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned.